involved in the Sifra that's Niota. We're starting another little cabinet here. So it says, let's read the blurb at the top. It says, Acher should be, well, maybe we should read the top, the very top first. It says, Abba Yasid Narration. Abba sits or is placed at the top, at the head. Ima be'ems Isa, Ima in the middle. Wiskasi Mikad and clothes from this side and that side. Ba'alaman the Gali are Yasahoi. So he said, what are the person that reveals their erva? He says, Achashabir Inyan Iber Veledis Zeranpin. So we've been talking about the birth of Zeranpin. Bivoyer Atab Inyan Kadesis Mochen, the unique of Zeranpin. Now we're going to talk about the entrance of the Mochen into Zeranpin. There's a little note on this. We'll pick it up later. Bivoyer the Oz Mislam Shem Mochen Benai, the Abba Shabasok Nai the Ima. So now we're talking about how this transfer takes place. It starts with the Mochin of Abba in the Nai of Abba, which is inside of the Nai of Ima, but not of Nasa Basok their Anpin, and now they all come into their Anpin. Benimsim Mochin the Abba who are Rosh Bebifnim. So there comes out like the Mochin the Abba are the head for most inside part, from the inside. Mocha the Iba who be'emsa, she's like in between. Their anpen atzmo malvish alechem mebechutz. So it's like a triple layer here. The limb says she'aba bebekulsa yedei ima. So Ab is covered over by ima. The ima bechusa yedei their anpen. The Yavar Oda will explain more than that. So this is how it actually. That's how the coverings go. Sha'al yedei ha'avonis, but unfortunately, through our sins, misalkim as ima min zer anpin, ima pulls out of zer anpin, ves abba min ima, and abba leaves ima. Ba'oz yochel lechiyos gilui erva of the abba be'ima chas v'shalom, and this causes a gilui of their erva. Now it's interesting that he says that even though we see that abba ve'ima are, he didn't talk about it, I don't think, are bechuber to diri. They're always together. He says here because of the beaver they separate. So I'm not sure what it means. So let's look at, first of all, we have number 45 here down below. Let's take a look at it. So it says, and this went on to this phrase, Ata Inyan Kinesis Mochin, the Yanika Bezer Anpin. So we're talking about the Mochin of Yanika, which is the Mochin the Katnas. Kachabir Kan Bibira Groa. So now we're talking about the Groa. And then after that, we're going to talk. So there was a skip apparently, and that we're going to go into talk about the Kinesis Bina Bazan. The Revia Olav, there's a fourth element, Besod Hanyanika, Bezechush Ama Abba Yosef. So this is really talking about the concept of really nursing or feeding, or we're talking about the stage of continence. That's more like it. Bezechush Ama Abba of Yosef, and this one says starts like this: Abba is placed at Kant. So let's look a little bit more closely. He says, Ray Gam Abira Gorlo Halon. We're going to see this later on. Bazel Shana Bedeluk. Vukodim is Patechas he said before she opens up for him, Shuha later, which is that opening up, which we're talking about, is birth. Kach Abba Yasid Beresha, and then after that, Abba sits in the in the most interior place. So Kanisas Mochi Abina Bo, so etc. Adkan. So this is a little cut up, but let's see what he means. Became Niva the Fimashin is Boyer Lael, he said a little bit more. The Isaac of the lady Zeranpin, that we're talking about the birth of Zeranpin, which is the stage of Unika at this point. Okay, let me see. Ve'im came. Moving bezet the kind Ira of the Mochen the Yanika of Boim Akra later. These are the Mochen of Yanika that we're talking about that come after the later after birth. Now, what's exactly I'm not sure the difference between this and Mochen the Godless that come later on. But right now we're talking about Mochen the Yanika. V'chein rei b'zohar akia. So also look over there. He says shehevich be'inyan im rovetzes al baneho. Aim, excuse me, that the mother she hovers over on her children. So as we go into this, we're going to see this. Excuse me, v'hem beer al pi zecha b'mayim sheflaneinu ha'ayin sham. Rei od b'ha'aretz l'cholon b'shem zohar arikia ayin sham. The night of the evening, Revitas aim alabanim. This concept of her coming down, I guess, and resting on top of her children, who so mochin dianika. So that whole concept that we talked about once before, or other times, and send away the mother bird and leave the children, that kind of thing, is not sure what that's supposed to mean, or the significance of that whole idea. Because we know that the Indian Revitas aim alabanim. Who sold Mochin Dianika? The whole thing is the Mochin Dianika. So he says, look over the Zohar. This is the language of the Zohar. V'ima revia alayhu the yonko lahu. So she's on top of it in order to feed them. V'al kasiv on this is written like this: Lo sikach aim alabanim. And so then we have this concept: don't take her away from the children. Ad kan. So he says lo sikach aim. So he says alabanim. So he says be'etz chaim over there ve'ikar davar the irikan. So what is it really talking about over here? Is a bebini slavshus mochin the abba be'ima beziranpin. It wants to talk about that. Regan b'yafashas. We'll see the Rav moving along. We're going to see that. Ray Od Ba'otzer Ba'orim. So we're going to have more to discuss on this as we go forward. So this is a short piece, and let's kind of read it through, and then we can go through the maybe we'll go through the second time the Biurim on this. He calls it the Makaros. Is the Abba Yosef Beresha parts of Abba Yosef Barosh? What does that mean? Koloma Shuhu Yosef Panimi Mekulam. It's more Panimi. It's inside of all of them. Who Rishon Barosha Babifnim. So if you count, and you count from inside out, that this is going to be the first. This is going to be the head of it. But in Yenu, so we want to talk about this. He says, "Ki mochin the Abba Mubasha Bezochin Netzachod Yisod the Abba." So the mochin that are coming from Abba for Zeranpin are in his 9. Vehemis Lavsha Bezochin Mochin the Ima Amulubasha Bezochin Netzachod Yisod the Ima, which is the Abba, the Nai of Abba is inside of the Nai of Ima. V'kulam, and all of them. Mislavshin so mochin besoch goof the zer anpin, they all go into zer anpin, they become mochin over there. Benimskim mochin the abba yoshvim benimkim the kol. So he said the mochin the abbas are really on the inside. This I guess what he means to say by it's the rosh. Ima be'em se'isa. So now going back to the Sifra Tzniut itself, it says the ima is going to be in the middle. The ima mulubasha b'netzachod yisod the ima yoshvim be'emsa the hainu bein netzachod yisod the abba bein goof the zeranpin. Miskasich bekan and they are covered over from here and there. For oz nimsa ki netzachod yisod the abba, which is the penimius part. Shebebifnim b'chus achol yedera the netzachod yisod the ima is covered over by that. The kumal kain netzachod yisod the ima. B'chutz achol yedera b'guf zeranpin. Malvi shows some which covers them. So it comes out that Abba is clothed over here through by Ima. So woe to the person who reveals their nakedness. So he says, Aryaschon, oily meat should gorim ba'avanoisa, and he calls it. This happens as a result. Why? Because of his sins. Okay, and you're using the word area or erva here. Legalos as ervas abba ervas ima, because the sinning causes the revealing of them. It causes them to leave Zeranpin. So what comes out of that is that Abba has nothing covering him. Which was covered by Ima. V'chein misgali yisod ima shehoy mechusa ayideh b'zer anpin. Now over here he didn't say that Abba and Eva separate, but he says in Unica he said that. So let's see what we can do with any of this and see if there's any nuance in these notes. I looked through the notes, and the notes seem to be fairly self-explanatory, but that is that going along with the Torah itself. So let's see how we're going to do this. Let's look at number Memhe. Memhe went on the. This is Memhe. We didn't Memhe. Memvov. So Mem Vav went on the phrase that parts of Abba Yoshi Barosh Rei B'Ferish Talmud. He says Shabir Kamas Alushano Abba Yasin Beresha who besod Rash's Chachma. That's the concept we had Rash's Chachma. So we said the Chachma, which is Benimi, which is Abba, is on the inside. Adkan. Rei Behemshech. So also let's see how this goes on as well. So I think that was it for that. Remember, Mem Vav is just really verifying the ideas. So Mem Zion went on the idea. He said, "What was that?" Besochima. So looking at the bottom of the page, it says, "Bekulam Islavsha besod mochin besoch gufs zir anpin the nimsakim b'mochin the abba b'yoshvin penimi the call." So this is basically our idea. He wants to say what the lineup is. That's the meaning of this little sentence we got from the Rashby. So let's look at number test Zion and see if there's a Mem Zion rather than see if there's anything more interesting here. Is Rebbe Yofet Shah Shapir Khan? This is what he says. Hashta Ashmo Inan Shemislav Shabanahi the Abba. That's Abba and Ima Basil Mochin go Gufa the Zah. Basil Mochin. So the Mochin, there's the Nai of the two of them are coming in and to the Gufa Zah. Gabar Noida Shemochin the Abba Habaluvashim Tokum Nai the Abba. Mislavshim tochum mochin the ima abeluvashim besochem nai the ima. Balkol mislavshim go gufa the zer anpin besod mochin. So this is already known. So let's go on, see if there's a nuance here. The zecher she'ama abba yasi bereisha. So this is the meaning of that phrase. He said, "Wrote alom mochin the abba abeluvashim tochum nai shalom yoshvim pnimim the kol." So the mochin that are coming from Abba are in the inside of everything. Abba Yasib Bereisha wrote Salomer Mochin the Abba Malubasha Benali Shalo Yoshli Penimi the Kol. So what is the most penimistic part is the Mochin. So the Mochin are inside of the Kalim of the Nai of Abba. So he's Adkan. So understand what we're talking about. Shabir Khan Bizal Abba Yasib Bereisha Penimi the Neshama. So Abba sits at the beginning means that he's the Neshama to it. You see, Yoshed Panimi V'Neshama V'Nikra Elyon. It's called also the high part. Shuhu Yosef Ma'ula V'Madrigasa V'Bayonda, because it's a higher. So just going over the B'Medaknek and the Lashon, that's what's happening here. So not a big Shiddushim here. Kamo HaNeshama Shehi Elyon Mislav Shebel Ruach. So the same concept you have with the concept of Neshama. Neshama usually associated with Bina. Bina is mislavish inside of the ruach, which is associated with zeranpin. Kain Abba Yasib Bereisha. So the same thing is you could the kach. So therefore we see Abba Yosef Bereisha Amaluvish Be'iva Shina Asa Lo Goof. She becomes a goof for him. Adkan Rei Od Bezor Bekia. The same idea. He says Shabina Miskasi Bebunim. That Ema is covered over by her children. Okay, we have a little break. The Shem should have mercy on all of us. Kindness and bring kindness and goodness to the world. So we'll wait for it to come back. Here it comes back. Okay, let's go on. Because she wrote Vetzes al Benachon. When does this happen? When she's covering or when she's really, this means hovering like, but it means to say she's resting on top of them. So when she rests on top of them, or actually is inside of them, she comes into them, her nai comes into them, Abba's inside of her. So she becomes like a body for Abba. So Aisha. Regam Bahadus Melech, so Ovesesha, Bibira Kambas, Avashana, Abba Yasib Beresha. He says, Gonos Basov Ima, hidden inside. That means it's in Akan, the Reba Emshech. So these are different kinds of languages that we're getting over here. Okay, so that really was not a great illumination other than it telling us that that's how they got to these words. And let's go on to number Memches is on the phrase. He says, if we're reading up above, he says, Ima be'emsa isa mocha the ima mulavasha be'netzachod yisod the ima yodfim be'emsa the ainu bein netzachod yisod the abba. So they're in the middle between the netzachod the abba be'bein guf the zeranpin. That's where the little piece that we have down here at the bottom. We just might as well go through it. He says, "Here's a Rebbe Yofashah." So another Yofashah is going to be another player in this. Zalashona ima be'emsa isa mochin shalah the ima. Now we're talking about the mochin or mochin amaluvasha benai shalah that are inside of her nai. Yoshves ben kalim the abba. They said those mochim. Now we just talk about the mochim part. The mochim sit between the kalim of Abba, the kalim the zeranpin, and the kalim the zeranpin at Khan. So I hear only the first part of that. The second part should be is that Yoshvos Bo Kalim the Abba. That is the mochin in between that. Lekalim the Zer Anpin, and the Kalim of Ima are in between the mochin of Ima and the mochin of Zer Anpin. That kan. Ray Gamba Zohar Vakia. So the same thing as that we have this going through the language and seeing how it goes. Let's just read Mem Test. Memtes race Reba Yafa Shah again, and Miskasi Mekan and Nekan. What does that mean? They're covered on this side and that. Kimisad the Benimi Mochin the Abba became Yosef Benimi Bemena. So his Mochin are more Benimi than hers. And Mitzad Chutza Kalim the Zer Anpin, and on the outside, the Kalim of Zer Anpin, Kitzoni and Malacha are on the outside of her. Akan. So he said, "V'hinev ein l'farish miskasi v'kan." So he said we shouldn't explain this. We can the coin rock al ima, that this is really talking about ima. He says, yeah, don't explain it like that. Behind it, the ima miskasi b'bechutz yedera b'zer anpin b'fdim yedera b'aba. So she's covered over on the inside. It doesn't really work. The lissa, because that's not right. He says. Shahare Inyan Panimis Ima Lo Shayach Lomer Shemiskasa Abba. So you can't say that the Molchin, which are the Panemias of Ima, is covered over by Abba because Abba's inside of those Molchin. Ki Balav Hachi Halocha Panimkus Bechusach of Omedhu, so that the Panemius is always covered over, and that's its position, the Pashu. That's you got to understand that. It's not able to be covered by something and then cover the something that is not able to be covered by Ima, and then Ima is covering Ima. That doesn't work. Elitzark the Farish, Miskasium Mikan al Abba, Umekan al Ima. So that the meaning to say this word Miskasia really means that they're covered. Each one of them is individually covered. Al Ima, the commotion is boyer b'tmim, as we're going to get more into that. V'chein hu b'birei raw. So you see the Shabir Khan explains like this, quote from the Gra. The Miskasi Mekan, what does that mean? She Mikasa, so that she, Bina, covers him, as Abba. Ben and the son, which is Iran Ben, Mikasa also, he covers her as Ima. That's the proper way to read this and understand this, not to get confused. I can't. So if somebody was confused, I didn't think it was that confusing. Ray O Biurim Ba'otz of the Urim. So we're going to see more. Apparently, this is an issue of what's covering what. So there's one more here. Let's see what that one says. That one said it's the last piece. Let me see if I can find a place to pick it up. Okay, one more break. We have another break to consider what it is we're doing here to be able to try to create the channels to the Ein Sof Baruch Hu. So let's see what the next thing is here. Number 9. Let's just read number 9. There's a lot to do, so we're going to try to go over that. Okay. It's already 7:34. Okay. All right. Well, so I guess we'll do number. There's really no time left. We'll pick up number none next time, and then we'll Mr. Shem go over there. Today is 6. I don't know what the date is today. 6/22. This is 20. No, I've got that all wrong. What day is today? My phone doesn't work. Otherwise, I would know. But it only answers the phone right now.
June
Today,
11th, we should say
huh?
Sivan.
Sivan what?
June 11th or Club Day Sivan.
Cough base. Okay. Yeah, that's what it says. I got the wrong date. Yeah, I got that 22 right. Pretty close. All right, let's go over to the TIV and get